Rachel Morgan had spent 3 years proving that ghost stories were nothing but bad lighting and overactive imaginations. She was good at it too. Her YouTube channel, Debunked, had over 400,000 subscribers. People who tuned in every week to watch her walk through supposedly haunted houses, old asylums, and forgotten cemeteries, and walk right back out with a perfectly logical explanation. Old pipes, drafty windows, infrasound from HVAC systems messing with people's heads, every single time. So when her producer sent her a tip about a small inn in the Colorado Rockies with a 70-year reputation for paranormal activity, Rachel didn't even hesitate. She booked the room, packed her equipment, and drove 7 hours into the mountains. Blackwood, Colorado had a population of around 1,800 people. It sat deep in the San Juan Range, surrounded by ponderosa pines and not much else. The kind of town where everyone knew everyone, and winters lasted 6 months. The Blackwood Inn had been operating since 1923. It was a 3-story Victorian building with a wide front porch and enough character to feature in a dozen local history books. Guests loved it, except the ones who stayed in room 217. Those guests kept reporting the same thing. Footsteps. Not from the hallway, not from the room above, not from outside. Inside the room, in the middle of the night. Walking back and forth across the floor. The reports went back to the 1950s and had never stopped. Rachel had heard this kind of thing 100 times. She checked in on a Thursday evening in January. A fresh snowstorm had rolled in off the peaks, and the town felt sealed off from the rest of the world. The innkeeper, an older woman named Margaret, handled the check-in without much conversation. But when Rachel mentioned she'd specifically requested room 217, Margaret's expression shifted. Only for a second. Rachel noticed. She always noticed. By 9 that evening, she had 4 cameras set up throughout the room, motion sensors on both entry points, and a digital audio recorder running on the nightstand. She ordered takeout from the only place still delivering in the snow, ate at the desk, and reviewed her baseline footage while the storm pressed against the windows. Nothing. Around 1 in the morning, she closed her laptop and turned off the lamp. She was asleep before 2. Something woke her at 1:43. Not an alarm, not the wind. A footstep. Heavy, deliberate. Somewhere near the foot of the bed. Rachel sat up. The room was dark except for the pale blue glow of her equipment. She grabbed the flashlight from the nightstand and swept it across the room. Empty. She checked the door. Still locked. The window was sealed. No one had come in. Floor settling, she told herself. Old building, cold night, classic. She lay back down. Then it happened again. 1 footstep, then another. Slow and measured, moving from the far corner of the room toward the door. The sound was solid, not a creak, not a pop. The sound of weight shifting across hardwood. Rachel grabbed her camera and hit record. The footsteps stopped immediately. She sat there for 10 minutes in the silence. Nothing. She checked her footage in the morning. The cameras had recorded exactly what she expected. An empty room. No movement, no shadows, no orbs or mist or anything that would get clicked on by conspiracy boards. But the audio was different. At 1:43 a.m., all 4 microphones had captured the footsteps clearly. 32 seconds of them, moving in a deliberate path across the room. Rachel sat with her headphones on and listened to it 4 times. She didn't have an explanation. She spent the next day in the Blackwood Public Library going through the town's newspaper archive on microfiche. Local history, property records, incident reports. That's where she found the story of Thomas Reed. In February of 1954, Reed, a traveling salesman from Kansas City, had checked into room 217 during a blizzard. He was supposed to leave the next morning. When the innkeeper knocked at checkout time, the room was empty. His suitcase was still there, his wallet was on the nightstand, his car sat in the parking lot, keys in the ignition. Thomas Reed had simply vanished. No body was ever found, no explanation was ever offered. The case went cold within a year. Rachel drove back to the inn in the dark. The second night was worse. At 1:43 a.m., the footsteps returned, louder this time. They circled the bed slowly, the way someone might pace while thinking through a problem. Rachel lay still and kept her breathing steady. Then she saw the shadow. It stood in the doorway, tall, still, human-shaped, not moving, just present in the way that certain things are present in the dark when your mind can't argue them away. The temperature in the room dropped sharply. Rachel's breath fogged in the air above the blankets. The old alarm clock on the nightstand stopped. 1:43. Then the shadow was gone. The footsteps stopped. The room went warm again. She reviewed the footage one final time before checking out. The cameras again showed nothing visual, but under the footsteps on the audio, barely audible, buried beneath the static, was a voice. Male, quiet, repeated over and over. Rachel boosted the gain and put on her headphones. "I never left." The video went live 6 weeks later. It became the most watched upload in the history of her channel. Rachel never offered a conclusion, no debunk, no explanation, just the footage, the history, and the audio. A lot of her regular viewers didn't know what to do with that. Neither did she. Guests at the Blackwood Inn still occasionally ask for room 217, and according to the staff, some of them still wake up at 1:43 in the morning to the sound of someone walking across an empty room, looking, maybe, for a way out.